Nice to meet you.
You too.
I don't know. I swear to God, whatever. I blew yesterday. It is what it is. But
Yeah,
I
no,
had
it's
it in my
funny. I think,
calendar for 2 o'clock, and I was like, for some odd reason, I thought the what do they call it? Daylight savings time factors into.
oh yeah, no, we haven't changed our clocks yet. So we
I
changed
don't know.
them, I think in 2 weeks' time or something. We go an hour, spring forward, fall back. We go back an hour.
Yeah, I could just be an
Yeah.
idiot, which is totally possible. I'm gonna pop my other computer off the internet, so we got all the bandwidth.
Yeah.
All right.
I got
Um,
I got one of
got some cool
these.
people on, man.
I got one of these, like lights. Because I've been recording them like with other Americans, and it's always like around this time, and now it's kind of starting to get dark. So like I'm just recording it on the Mac, like
Yeah.
camera or whatever, but I go into slow motion when it goes dark here. So like if I move, it's like really slow. So I was like, God, I feel like a makeup artist or something out of my fancy
Yeah,
life.
I have one of those too, and I don't really use it for the same reason, and also because it's so bright.
Mm.
But I just got this little guy right here.
Yeah, one of my friends said if you put a muslin over it, like the baby
Yeah.
muslins or whatever, that it like makes it a little bit less harsh.
Oh, that's nice.
But yeah.
And you're in Dublin.
Well, yeah, about an hour away from Dublin, like
Okay.
bang in the center of Ireland, like Mullingar.
All right.
Um,
I've never been there. I'm gonna pull up a map right now. I'm pretty good on geography, but I still have that like American geography syndrome.
yeah, well, I
We know
think
where about five things are.
to be fair, like I think having been in America, it's insane how far places are from other places. Like whereas in Ireland, it's like everywhere is like, oh yeah, that's like 2 hours away. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. So I've been pretty fortunate to travel like a fair amount, and it gave me so much perspective of like one, how big the world is, but two, how fucking big the United States is.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, 'cause I remember we spent the only place I've been in Ireland is Belfast.
Yeah.
I've done a bunch of seminars up there, and I know as far as Ireland go, the north and south can be pretty different. But man, I'd love to make my way down to other parts of the country in Dublin, and it'd be really nice.
Yeah. Well, you're always welcome here anyway. I think Brandon Swan is coming to stay apparently.
Oh, he's a great dude, man. Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
he's
you
really
had
cool.
him on. You had Pete Shaw on. So
Yeah.
all cool people. What about before we jump into this? If you have time, I'm always curious to learn about the interviewer. So,
Okay.
like, what about you, man?
Um, I don't know. What about me? I'm a primary school teacher, like elementary school, you'd call
Yeah.
it. Um, yeah, and I like CrossFit. I'm shit at it, but I like it. And yeah, I don't know. I just kind of I wanted to talk to like people like you, like other people that like I admire or that I find interesting or whatever. Especially people I think that don't get maybe like spotlight that they should get. Like, you kind of hear from the same four or five people on podcasts, I think, where it's like,
Mm,
like say if you follow, and like nothing against them, but if you follow like Buttery Bros or Morning Chalk Up or people like that, it tends to be just the same cycle of people over and over again. Like,
yeah.
which obviously, like, no more than sex sells. I mean, like big names sell.
Yeah.
But I think there's other people like that have as interesting, if not more interesting stories to tell. And then I don't know, just had a conversation with a friend one day and just had an idea of starting a podcast. And then I was like, geez, I'd actually give me serious leeway to just ask people to, oh, can I talk to you for an hour? Whereas if I didn't have a podcast and I was like, oh, do you want to just do a Zoom call for an hour? People would be like,
Yeah.
fuck off. Like, so I think it gives a bit of credence to it. Like, but I think, yeah, it just kind of, I don't know, I kind of got out of control a bit then, like during when we had lockdown here. Um, Obviously other places were kind of shut down a bit as well. So I had like probably got access to people that I like wouldn't have, maybe shouldn't have otherwise. Like where
Yeah.
I was able to talk to people that are maybe were above where I am and was. And then I don't know, like you say, then people kind of look back and see like, oh geez, he had such and such on, or he had that person on, or
Yeah.
whatever. And then it gives you more kind of leeway to ask for favors or ask, oh, you know, like even I had Brandon Swan on, and then I was talking to him, kind of got friendly with him, and I was chatting to him, and he was like, oh, let me have a think if there's anyone I know that will come on, and like, you know, that it kind of leads to other stuff. But then I suppose going back to work made it kind of hard because you're being pulled in two different directions, like, you know. And then I think it kind of showed me that I maybe don't really like my job as much as I thought I did. Like, I kind of, you know, it's all right. Like, it's
Yeah.
necessary. I have a mortgage and stuff, but I think I thought I was passionate about it. I say this time last year, someone asked me, I'm like, oh yeah, I fucking love my job. Like, it's so great being able to help people, and you know, the holidays aren't bad either.
Yeah.
Whereas now
Yeah.
it's kind of like, yeah, like work is okay, but Jesus, I really fucking love doing the podcast. Like, you know, it's, yeah, I think it showed me, like, I suppose what passion actually is. Like, what I thought it was isn't what it is, and this is what it is. And I don't know, as long as it lasts, I'll keep doing it, because it's not, I'm not getting any money out of it. I'm not, you know, there's no benefit that way. But it's cool. Like, it's cool being able to talk to Pete Shaw about how he found Friendly Fran, or being able to talk to Rory McKernan about, you know, presenting, or, you know, like, it's cool. How many doors have opened, I think, is surprising but fun.
I
Yeah,
mean, you've had a
that's,
shitload of people on here. Yeah.
yeah, like, see, I did 2 a week during lockdown, and lockdown for us lasted from like March until June.
Yeah.
So I did 2 a week basically throughout that. So that doubled my episodes, I suppose, over that period of time. Like, but I was kind of, I had a hope of getting. So I started it in like the 5th or 6th or something of December last year, and I had a hope of getting to 100 episodes on the anniversary day. But even if I kept doing 2, I don't think I'd make it. So, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to just start doing 3. That'd just be ridiculous. So I think I'll just accept that it'll be sometime in February or whatever. It's fine. Like,
That's, I mean, it's cool to just like, you know, someone once said to me, if you want to be considered an expert at anything, you get published, or you publish content. And I guess now the publishing content is podcast, not so much writing anymore. But
mm,
yeah, it's super. It's, I mean, it's an amazing catalog of work to sit on top of. You know, it's a shame that there's not more accessible money in podcasts, just because it's so cool.
yeah, I do
You
think though,
basically,
like, I don't know anything. Like, I really don't. Like, and I think that's why it's been good, because like, I'm not coming at it from a certain standpoint. I don't have any, like, obviously I have, you know, beliefs on what coaching should be like and what training should be like, because I know who I look up to and stuff. But like, if I'm asking someone a question, I think it's coming from a genuine place. Like, I don't have an agenda. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not, well, if anyone wants to buy a t-shirt, they can. But like, I'm not trying to
yeah,
push a particular train of thought, or I'm not trying to, you know, railroad guests into talking about certain things or whatever. Like, you know, I think a few people have said to me, it's my naivety that like brings people back, because
yeah.
it's innocent questioning. It's not like, you know, in 2016 you said this, why did you say that? You know, I'm more like, you know, how were you feeling in 2016? Like, just because I'm curious of that side of it. Like, so I think, yeah,
Yeah.
it's going good. Like, hopefully it continues anyway. And
No,
some,
I think that's awesome.
maybe Eric might siphon off some of his money into podcasting because he sees it as a future or something. But
Yeah, you could be the next CrossFit like sponsored podcast.
yeah, I'd say there's a few ahead of me in that queue, I'd say.
You never know, man. I mean, it's definitely like I've started to do more of these, and it is funny. Like, some people just have a knack for chatting with others and bringing it out of others, and
Yeah, and I've had some
um,
fucking stinkers in there as well. Like, I've had some where you're like talking to someone, you're like, please just give me something I can use. Like, just open up a little bit, like.
yeah,
But most, like, whatever, I think 67 episodes, and I think there's been like maybe 1.5 that were like teeth pullers, but
yeah.
everything else was perfect. Like, you know, it's been easy. Like, so
I see that you have Rob. I haven't listened to his yet, but I'm gonna. I see that you have Rob Lawson on here.
I messaged him. I actually messaged him about something separate, and I was like, "Oh, I'm talking, I'm talking to you," and he said, "Oh, ask him about Korea." And I was like, "I assume I shouldn't ask him about that," and he was like, "Definitely not on camera."
We just, you know, so I work, you know, it's so funny. The coolest thing about CrossFit to me has been like, The people I've met, I mean, just us, for example, it's like,
Mm,
when would you and I have ever crossed paths? It's
mm,
like, unless I travel a lot, which happened because of CrossFit, or you travel a lot, or, a connection like this. But Rob, same kind of story. He's like one of those people I met where I was like, man, if I was on my deathbed and I knew that I could have met this guy and didn't, it would be such a damn shame. Like,
mm.
he's such a good dude. We did have some wild travels with seminar staff. And when I was first starting on staff, like, I would request, because I was a young guy, single guy, I would just request to be like, hey, Dave and Nicole, because at that time they were doing the staffing. I'd be like, can I just go to Korea for a month? And they, and there were, I did Australia for a month. I did Korea for a month. I did South America for a couple of weeks. And it was just like, a lot of it was good work, hard work, productive, but some of it was just pure party time fun.
Yeah,
And like, yeah, just such a good time. And yeah, that's really cool, man.
I know it's like fucked up, like really.
He's a trip, man. And it's funny too, like, like just little cultural nuances. Rob always says to me, and we're good friends, and man, I love him, and I wish we were related, kind of thing. But he always says to me, like, he always says, "You good, bro?" And it's funny because it's like, if I say that to somebody in the U.S., like, "You good, bro?" It's kind of almost like
You're about to
check
put,
yourself.
yeah, you're gonna push them in the chest or something.
Yeah, yeah. And when Rob says to me all the time, and I remember a while ago, I was like, Rob, are you like having a go at me with that? Like, you trying to start shit? He's like, no, I'm really just interested how you're doing. I love running into stuff like that. Like, for example, in the US, like, especially in the Northeast, we say wicked. Like, if something like, this is wicked, wicked fast, wicked awesome. And it means like really, really to the extreme good. And sometimes I'll travel and I'll say wicked, and people are like, what the hell
Yeah,
are you
they probably
talking
haven't heard
about?
that since like 1997.
Exactly. And it's still lingering in the US, so,
Yeah.
or the Northeast. But anyway,
Where do you live, in Boston, or where do you live?
so my wife and I, we live just outside of Boston in Dedham.
Okay.
So it's greater Boston area. It's just not city proper.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
And
pretty damn close.
what's the political landscape like there? I know you have your debates and everything going on.
Yeah, I mean, Boston is pretty traditionally like is more democratic, definitely more liberal area, like the Northeast in general, except for New Hampshire. New Hampshire's state motto, live free or die. They're definitely a little bit more conservative politically, and typically Republican, but I can't say always.
Mm.
Political landscape in the US right now is trippy, man. It's
I was
you
listening to a
know
podcast the other day that was like, I didn't realize how much it changed when Trump won. Like that, he flipped so many states that were traditionally like always voted the other way, and he flipped them.
Yeah.
And they were saying that like the last time it happened was Bill Clinton went like did it
Hmm.
the opposite way. Like, but yeah, I don't know. But then I think it's like the internet is fucking amazing. Like you had Mike Pence with the fly on his head. And within 5 minutes, it was a meme of like a guy
Yep.
holding up a Biden sign, and like I just think, like I was saying at work today, I was like, I mean, Mike Pence could be a genius where he's like backstage going, right now, glue the fly onto my hair and no one will listen to a word I'm saying, because he'd be like, is there a fly on our screen or on his, and they just won't hear anything. Like,
It's so true though. Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, at the debates, I don't know if you caught wind of and then, but there's definitely like I would feel like, especially in parts of Europe and definitely in South America, there's definitely like this push for like populist politicians.
mm,
Um, but and I think Trump is a representative of that. But yeah, man, the debates have been out of control. I mean, the Trump Biden debate was like this moment of, you get the politicians that you deserve, and it was just like, this is our, I was watching it and I was like, I don't care socially, economically, whatever you believe in. I was like, we suck so much to get these two guys in this
this is what we're
position right now. I
left
mean,
with.
that's just the
Like,
way it looked. Like, they were Muppets, in my opinion. But
yeah,
so political landscape, it's just heated, a lot of high tensions right now in the US. And in some ways, maybe it's good, because sometimes that kind of social upheaval can create some good positive change. But that's what I just hope that's what comes out of it, is it doesn't become like a negative change. I hope some positivity comes out of it, some productive.
yeah, you'd love if like Trevor Noah or someone like chaired one of the debates, like someone who
Yeah,
actually didn't give a shit, like who just
yeah,
tell them to, or just turn off their mic and tell them to stop talking, like, because I think that's the most frustrating thing when you're watching it is like, okay, Mr. President, you've got 2 minutes to speak on whatever, and then it's like 15 minutes later, and they're like, no, you shut up, and it's like someone tell
Yeah.
them both to shut up.
Shut
Like,
up, right? They've
yeah,
actually, I was listening to something the other day. They're thinking about reforming it and creating some sort of ability to mute the mics,
yeah, be better off.
which I think
Even
is kind of fun.
I saw they were going to do like virtual ones because obviously Trump is
Yeah.
like, I kind of think he never had it. Like, I kind of think he just said he had COVID and went like, I don't know, because now he's beating it, and it's like,
Yeah.
he'll never die. Like, but I think someone said something about that they were going to do online, and he was like, oh, it defeats the purpose, and like you can't, it's not the same, and blah blah. And then I was kind of like, God, I wonder why he's so against it. And someone was like, because he can't win if he can't interrupt, if he can't like, if he's just shouting at his screen and it's just his mouth moving and nothing's happening, like he's not going to get the desired effect, like, but
Yeah. It's funny too. Yeah, I think, regardless of what you believe politically, I think Trump referred to himself as a perfect physical specimen. I could be misquoting there. Hey, fact check me on that, world. But I heard that, and I was joking with a buddy of mine recently, and I was saying there should be certain qualifications to be president of the free world, or whatever. If you're going to be like this, the prime minister, whatever. If you're going to be the top politician in any country, there should be like this checklist of qualifications. And I think one of them should be, in the US, you need to be able to back squat your body weight just once. It doesn't have to be pretty, but you got to take that shit below parallel and stand it up. I feel like that just has to be a qualification.
Yeah, or just be able to run, like be able,
do a strict pull up, just one. Like nothing crazy.
Because isn't there like a presidential fitness test, or wasn't there, or something? So surely the president should have to be able to pass the presidential fitness test.
I know, right? And I think that's been around since JFK, maybe. But that's been around for a really long time. And the presidential fitness test, it's like a pull up. There's like a sit and reach test.
Yeah,
I don't remember all the
rope
things
climb or something as well, I think.
Yeah, maybe like a rope. I don't remember all the pieces. I'd have to look that up.
I'm basing my knowledge of it purely off American sitcoms that I've seen.
No, they're probably pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Actually, it was funny because I saw you interviewed Bosman, and Boz sent me, I haven't watched yet, but he did send, and maybe I'll forward it to you when I dig it up. He sent me like this documentary, which is on the history of the presidential fitness test, which I want to dig into. But I think that politicians need to have those little qualifications.
Yeah. I don't think I can't imagine Trump doing, I'd say it'd be like that. I remember they were revamping our gym. And they had, the rig was lying on the ground, and I was like, this is my chance to do a muscle up, because it's like lying flat on the ground. I feel like there'd be a lot of green screen involved if Trump did a pull up, like.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I had a dream once. I've told a couple of people this. I had a dream once. I was having dinner. It was in their living room, lavish, opulent, gold over the top, with Donald Trump and his wife, Melania Trump. And we started talking about CrossFit, and I was talking to the president, and he said how he wasn't that into it and he didn't like to exercise. And then I was talking, his wife looks at me and she goes, well, I do CrossFit. And then in my dream, I was like, no, you don't. And she said, I can do a pistol. And I said, and I called her bluff. And this is like the most vivid dream I can remember. She was in high heels, and she stands up in a dress and does a pistol in high heel. And I'm like, holy crap. And then she says to me, she goes, watch this. She kicks up against the wall, this marble wall. It looks like Versailles in their apartment. Again, this is all my dream. She does a handstand push-up. And that was the end of the dream. But I don't know why I had that dream, but it was like one of the most vivid dreams I've ever had.
Two things I took from that. One, how admirable it was that you felt the need to keep putting in that it was a dream, just in case anyone tuned in halfway and was like, oh, Trump's wife was doing handstand. And then secondly, I mean, surely you should have asked her to take the high heels off, because I could probably do a pistol squat with my heel that high.
Right? Yeah, she nailed it, man. the balance would be tough, but yeah, it definitely gives you a little advantage. It was funny.
Yeah.
But,
right, we better get going, or it'll be bedtime.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know. I just get chatty.
No, I honestly love it, but I don't want to take up your whole